Your next presenter is Dr. Alfred Tatum, Interim Dean of UIC's College of Education and Professor and Director of the Uic Reading Clinic. He's an expert on the literacy development of African American boys with a focus on adolescent males, as well as on the professional development for teachers in urban middle and high schools. He conducts qualitative research, particularly case study research, and the literacy interventions he has created are empirically driven. He was recently invited to participate in the National Summit on Educational Excellence and Opportunity for African American Males, held in August in Washington, D.C. by the U.S. Department of Education. Dr. Tatum is also a UIC alumnus, having earned his PhD from the College of Education. Welcome, Dr. Alfred Tatum.
As an 8th grade teacher in Chicago public schools more than 20 years ago, I began conducting research in my own classroom to support adolescent readers. This critical research focus continues at UIC because we live in a state in which only 4% of all 8th grade students are reading at an advanced level. The Uic Reading Clinic is now at the forefront of developing initiatives and curriculum materials aimed at restoring African American males' meaningful relationships with text and increasing their reading achievement. Many of these students attending schools in high-poverty neighborhoods are reading easier and fewer texts. Too many of our young males are progressing through schools without experiencing text as tools of protection from vulnerable producing incidents such as racial isolation, violence, and poverty. Essentially, their voices are being silenced and futures foreclosed without the appropriate literacy tools. Despite close to 50 years of reading reform legislation, the percentages of African American males attending institutions of higher education similar to ours are adversely impacted because of their literacy performance in elementary and secondary schools. The college-going rates and completion rates remain dismal. To research why so many school districts, including Chicago public schools, are missing the mark when advancing the literacy development of these young males across the pre-K through 16 landscape, I decided to take a social historical view of the roles of literacy of these males with the aims to develop a framework for accelerating achievement. My analysis led me to conclude that current literacy practices are apolitical and ahistorical. 4 literacy platforms emerged from the analysis. African American male literacy practices were grounded in defining self, becoming resilient, engaging others, and building capacity across a wide range of disciplines. As a result of this analysis, I began the first of 5 summer institutes in 2007 by inviting 15 young males from 15 different schools on Chicago's south and west sides. In year 2, the institute was expanded. I was afraid that others were defining African American males while the voices of these young males remained silent. They began to write from intellectual spaces and emotional spaces to address some of society's most pressing issues in Chicago and beyond. Many of the young males began to shift toward writing their way into college or writing toward promising possibilities as their ability to write academically advanced. During the institutes, the young males wrote more than 100 pieces each year, and several of them had their works published by Scholastic, the world's largest publishers of children's books. The Institute serves 68 young males, many of whom are now attending highly respected universities. One of the participants is now enrolled in UIC's College of Engineering. A national writing program emerged from multiple research studies. The program, called ID, is now being used in school districts throughout the U.S. to infuse more writing into high school classrooms. This is the only program in the nation from a major publisher that is built on the research of African American male adolescents. Another strand of research in the Uic Reading Clinic aims to create reading models that move African American boys to read several years above grade level. In the fall of 2010, a 10-week initiative called Boys College was created to pilot the model. This model required students to read and write across multiple texts during each 1-hour lesson. Using this model, students read challenging fiction and nonfiction texts. Currently, this approach is being called for in the Common Core State Standards movement in the U.S. The Uic Reading Clinic was ahead of the curve. Too often, a slow growth model of reading is used with kids who attend public schools in urban areas. An exponential growth model was needed to have these boys exceed national norms in reading and writing, not just meet them. Over the past 7 years, an aggressive effort has been made to recruit doctoral students to conduct research that directly impacts African American males and redefine literacy instruction in the U.S. 2 years ago, UIC had the largest number of African American doctoral students in one program studying literacy and African American children in the country. To grow the momentum, the College of Education hosted its first pre-college leadership and impact program last summer designed to nurture leadership among high school teens. More than 100 African American males with grade point averages of 3.0 and higher applied to participate in last summer's program. The boys underwent 1 week of leadership training before providing training to elementary age boys under my supervision and the supervision of 3 College of Education graduate students. This intergenerational approach is designed to have the boys consider teaching as a profession. We are actively recruiting these prospective future leaders of African American male education. The UIC Reading Clinic also hosts a Saturday alphabet camp for African American 4-year-old boys to prepare them for kindergarten. Our mantra is, kids are not at risk for failure, but we are at risk for failing them if we do not conduct responsible and ethical research that can make a difference in their lives. Involving African American male adolescents in literacy research is critical. Each approach mentioned today directly involved African American males in their own growth and development. Grounded in the idea of resilience and self-determination, young boys in each case were charged to use reading, writing, and text to shape their futures. For 7 years, the UIC Reading Clinic has operated as a de facto center for the reading achievement of African American males. Foundations and publishing companies have supported these initiatives, but we have much work to do. Our human capital, namely committed graduate students, have been our greatest asset. UIC has a responsibility to be geographically responsive to the citizens of Chicago. We also have to measure our worth by the number of lives we can impact. For the UIC Reading Clinic and the College of Education, one of the goals of meeting is to impact as many lives as possible, for particularly African American males, because they are too important to fail.